watching bids are going to be ending in just a few minutes. You still have time to run over, make your final bids. It does close at 3 p.m. Now, the reason that we're all here today, together celebrating, is because of our Generations campaign. And we have an amazing video that's going to further explain what our Generations campaign is all about.
Jesus wants us to do one thing in our life and one thing as a church, and that is to bring people to Him. The broken and the battered and the beaten and the hurting. And when I look at culture today, I don't know if there's a segment of culture that's more that way than people between the ages of 12 and 18. It is a generation that is lost. And they are why we're going to do what we're going to do. And it is of the utmost importance that we as a church, we create an environment, we create an experience for fun, food, friends, and faith. And if you create this environment, you reach out physically and you give them a compelling reason to come so that God's house might be full. And they come to church for fun, they come to church for food, they come to church for friends, they come to church for all this ambiance. But when they come to this church, they're going to have Jesus and faith placed right into their life.
Jesus has been arrested in connection with that murder. Led to the arrests of these two teens that detectives say killed this off-duty police officer.
3 teenagers accused of a vicious crime against a fellow student.
Right now, the Winter Garden Police Department says they're interviewing the 2 juveniles.
Left a 6th grader with 2 black eyes and a fractured heel.
Investigators say 5 teens were involved in the home invasion.
They assaulted the 77-year-old great-grandmother.
About the 2 students charged with poisoning their teacher.
The latest robbery was early Sunday at the CVS on Grayford Road.
They say the bad guys on the other end of the attack are a bunch of high school students who stopped this single dad.
University High School was on lockdown minutes after students reported a stabbing on campus.
Our world seems desperate, with no hope in sight. Something has to change. Someone needs to rise up and invest in, reach out to, and guide this generation towards a brighter future. At Faith Assembly, we have heard the cries of our schools, communities, and students. We will answer the call.
Faith Assembly of God has been through a lot of changes over the years. And I guess none more significant than a year and a half ago when we moved into this facility here at Curry Ford. We have seen so many families come and visit our church over this last year, and a higher percentage of those are deciding to stick and become a part of our family more than we've ever seen before. I think one of the reasons why that's happening is because of the room that I stand in. Before and after church, this atrium is buzzing with people who are building relationship with one another, who are connecting, who are getting to know one another. And I believe it's causing new people to feel like they're a part of something special. I guess that's one of the things I'm most excited about when I think about the youth center that we're building here at the church. We're building a significant auditorium for incredible worship services, but we're also devoting some substantial space just for connection, for fellowship, and for relationship. You know, over the last 17 years that I've been the lead youth pastor here, we've literally seen thousands of students walk an altar and make a decision to make Christ their Lord. And I know that not all of those students stuck, and not all of those students grew in their faith and grew in their discipleship to Christ. But the ones who did are the ones without exception who built relationship with leaders and with other Christian students. That's really what the church is. It's relationship. And that's why I cannot wait to see the impact that we are going to have on this city as we build a youth center that lends itself to that kind of connection, to that kind of relationship, to that kind of fellowship. It is impossible to imagine the impact we're going to have on this city, on this generation, and on the generations to come.
Right now I'm standing in our entrance and check-in area where students will walk up and give their name, and we want to have an accurate account of all of the students that are in attendance. Directly behind the check-in area is a basketball court, and it's glassed in all around where students can watch their friends play basketball. Just outside of the basketball court is a sports cafe. There's going to be booths in there along with additional seating that will serve as a perfect environment for those that are waiting to play. Directly behind the basketball court area is the coffee bar. Throughout the second floor, there will be different recreational areas, like an area for ping pong, foosball, pool tables, just games that are ideal for student interaction. The second floor will also feature an indoor amphitheater. It has a small stage area right at the bottom. It'll feature any other small performance that could go on there. Also included on the second floor is a large cafe where students can purchase various food items like chicken fingers and french fries and hamburgers and hot dogs. The youth sanctuary will be a state-of-the-art auditorium with video, sound, lighting, and a stage ideal for weekly services, concerts, productions, and conferences.
Recently, we sat down with Dr. Prince, principal of Colonial High School, to hear his thoughts on the potential of this youth center and the Generations campaign.
Well, I think what our high school students need the most is positive relationships with adults. I think right now in our society, so many of our parents work 2 jobs, they're not home. You'd find that a lot of the high schools in the area, a lot of the students just linger after school because they've got no place to go. So I think the most important thing, especially for a church group to provide, is mentorship, appropriate relationship with the students, someone they can look up to, role model, and those are kind of things that we're looking for. The new facility that you're building in Faith Assembly is it's so important to our community because the students don't have any place to go, once the doors shut at school. They'll go to our tutoring program, some of them, okay, and I said over 500 of them, they'll be here, they'll be on our freshman campus. But a lot of these students simply have no place to go. And they need to have a place to go that's going to be a positive part of their lives and lead them in a good path towards good choices rather than the other option, which is the choices that they'll make on the street, which usually aren't very good choices. So that's why it's so critically important at Faith Assembly and what you're trying to accomplish. We have the same goals. We really do.
You are not giving to brick and mortar. You're not giving to a cool basketball court. You are giving for a tool to bring young, broken roses to Jesus. And they'll come for the fun, they'll come for the food, they'll come for the friends. And while they're here, they'll hear about Jesus. They'll get put in a small group and have a mentor in their life. Maybe even some of you in their life will forever be changed.